What is good, guys? This is Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with a post-commentary duel video, post-ROTA versing off against Centurion. And as you guys know, Centurion's been getting a lot of representation lately. Pack ended up going 10-0 with it, and my man Gus has been on this strategy for a while. Like a while now, actually. It's kind of interesting. The deck is so nice that, you know, we see that Calamity's banned, so the deck can like bridge off and do some other cool things, otherwise, other than being like Calamity Turbo. We win the dice roll there by literally 1, so we take it and we get to go first here. A normal summon uppercut, uppercut's effect to grab the spar, making Dempsey. Dempsey is what's going to bridge us into Angelica. And I'm not, I'm not on the Azamina engine, and the reason I'm not on that engine per se is mostly because the testing that I did in my, testing that my other like buddy, if you guys don't know, he, Arseny, I can't pronounce his name, it's French, but he ended up getting day 2. We did a lot of testing, he did a lot of grinding, and I did a few games and a few testing with it, and it just seemed to add, like, inconsistencies. If you wanted to play, like, the full potential of it, otherwise you could literally play, like, it's the same thing, like, right here, going through the XYZ armor package that I'm doing right here. The only difference is that I would say that each engine has pros and cons, right? Well, for the most part, we all know the Azima engine is going to give you an Omni Negate, like, with just Witch, and it gives the deck like another 1-card combo, which is really nice, but like at the cost of playing potential bricks and stuff like that. Whereas like this stuff gives you like utility, like I'd say better utility than what that does, without giving you the ability to play through like a harder end traps because you don't have like that. I'm gonna get right. So we're able to use the mail here to trigger the Angelica. Angelica's going to dump and summon. We're going to activate Museum. So it's just like, there's no wrong way to play Infernoble, guys. Like, truly, like, play what you want. I don't feel like, I was about to buy the Azima stuff, but I just decided not to after, like, Arseny and me, we did a lot of testing, and he'll comment down below how to pronounce his name. I'm just horrible at it. So we just did a lot of testing, and it just found like more games, like if you were just playing like a more pure variant, you just had a better like win rate because of the likelihood of bricking on like multiple witches or the deceptions or the hollowed Azima cards. So we go into Charles here. We're going to go ahead and equip to go ahead and link into like Charles the Great, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, add back the Gearfried. Use Gearfried, banishing the chainmail here to be able to summon itself. And then our inboard is still like pretty solid. This is all essentially off of 1 uppercut, and that's one reason why like arguably you could cut the wanted package, or not the one, no, you don't want to cut wanted package. You could cut like the XYZ package and play like more hand traps, but like your 1-card combo is just like literally Charles pass with like SP, which is not terrible, but I just feel like you're limiting the ability of like uppercut. Like what uppercutter does here is like on par with the other 1-card combos, and I feel like the deck needs that type of like high ceiling to be able to compete. You need to have your other cards be either non-engine or defensive cards in order to play, so that's why you play Uppercutter at like 3, you know, so like, oh, you can combo, you have 1 card that does a lot, but my man Gus ends up ripping Imperm, and he goes after the, goes after the Charles. I'm just going to cross out it, so like, that was one thing we were talking about. My hand was like tactics and like cross out, so like, there's really, like, I didn't lose to like multiple, I like beat multiple hand traps with this hand, but looking at his hand, it looks like he has like a bunch of normal summons and stuff like that, and he has to play through literally so much. Yeah, look at it, and he opens the Emmet, which is a brick as well, plus the trap. But that's it for game 1. We go into that all-important game number 2, where he's going to get to go first, and he's going to get to show you what Centurion does. Hopefully he gets to show you what Centurion does. We were actually talking how Primus is an insane card for Centurion, being able to like bridge like the Imbla stuff over to it, which is wild, which actually kind of makes me want to play like this deck in a way, because like I really like the synchro aspect and like what it does. But we're gonna see M-Steady be pitched to go ahead and add the, you know, the King Sark guy. Sadly, open no hand traps. That's what's wild, man, is like game 1, he's like, Centurion's like known to play like so many hand traps, he didn't see a single one, and like I'm playing like a total of like 9 hand traps and didn't see a single one. That's also I should note, is that these games are played like no siding going in, because this is testing post-ROTA. This isn't like a tournament match or anything, but we're going to see the King Sark be activated, pitching the Tactics, which that's a good sign. Like, now would be a good time to hand trap, knowing that he pitched Tactics, right? He's going to dump the Happy, and then essentially he's going to move forward. But I think I actually do have a hand trap, believe it or not. I do think I do. Actually, I know, watching this game over, I realized I make like a horrible misplay. So we end up seeing that M-Steady and Happy come over. He overlays here for the number 90 here, which is pretty much a monster negate. But lucky for him, or lucky for me, I have Imperm in my hand. You go ahead and commits his normal summon this card, use the effect to go ahead and search, and I just feel like this is a good chance to throw it. Arguably, I could have held it, but like I feel like this deck would have put up so much more. So he ends up passing here, so I draw for turn, and I make a huge misplay, which I'll talk about here in the video. So like, I have a pretty good hand. I open Ricardetto, which is really good. But I end up going ROTA here to go ahead and search out Uppercutter, because like I said, this is no side decking, so this is there's no side decking going on, right? So like, I still have the Uppercutter engine in, which normally if you're going second, you'd side out for Fenrir and a Rise Heart, but we go ahead and add the Uppercutter, but he ends up dropping Droll, and I actually opened Ricciardetto and the Spar I drew for turn, so I had to play. I normal summon this. I don't use the Spar and special summon it, but I get kind of blinded here, and I do it anyway. So right here is like a huge misplay. I literally do this, and I should not have done this. I should use Ricciardetto to special it, make Dempsey to Sin. Then I should have attacked into Primera, made Zeus, and then sent everything. And that was a huge misplay. And I know that the number 90 is there to check something, but I have cards in my hand to check the 90, especially where I could have gone Ricciardetto effect to special, and then he could have gone the effect of, number 19 to gate, and then like I could have like potentially moved forward through that because I have Durandal in hand. And yeah, it's just, I special summon the Spar, I kind of got blindsided, and it was just like a huge misplay on my part. So I special summon the Dempsey and use the effect Descend, and he ashes here as well. So it's just kind of bittersweet. Like, I definitely had the ability to beat Droll here, and I just kind of goofed, and that's just upsetting. Like, I should have definitely used Ricciardetto. Ricciardetto would have forced the number 90, but right now I can't. Like, the game plan now is scoop it up and go to game 3, but the prior to the misplay was to try and solve the Gold Sark, and then you'd battle over the Primera, so then he's just left on no cards and, a number 90, which isn't too bad. But I can't even battle here. I can't even attempt to go battle phase because I used the Spar Rush. Like I said, I totally misplayed on my part, which is all right, but we all make those. Sometimes Droll happens, like sometimes you get frazzled. That's sometimes like those high impact cards such as Shifter, Droll, and Nibiru sometimes will frazzle you. And that kind of stinks, especially because, like, since you get frazzled, once you're frazzled, you kind of start you lose sight, you lose focus. And here I go ahead and fire off the Ricciardetto to attempt to go ahead and bait it, and I should have done this first, because even if I did this first, I could have still specialed Spar, and I had, I believe, a potential way to go a little bit further. I don't think I played around Droll really good that game, but we go into the all-important game number 3 here, and I look at my hand, and it's crazy because I open unplayable. I think I open Museum, Gearfried, Double Imperm, and Droll is what I open. Droll's horrible against Centurion, man. That's one reason why Centurion is such an amazing deck, is it literally plays around and under so many of the good hand traps. But he goes and activates King Sark pitching the Phalanx, I believe, to go ahead and send the Imseti, which, again, if he wants to discard another card, he can do it again, which, I mean, it looks like he has stuff to do. He goes Embla. Embla's going to place, which is going to place the Field Spell. And then Field Spell will be able to activate pitch a card. And that will be able to... He's actually talked about moving away, since there's so much pitching going on. He actually has talked about moving away from it. But he's going to pitch the Tactics here, which is a good sign for me. So, like, he's going to get to place the... Not the Trudea, the Primera, I believe. No, he places to the Trudea, and then he uses Trudea's effect to move itself forward, and then we're pretty off to the races. But this is a good sign, man, because this was really discouraging to see my opening hand. Like, I get to go first. My deck is insanely consistent, and I open like one of the most unplayable hands I've seen in a long time. But conveniently enough, I do happen. This is why like non-engine's like super important. I open 3 non-engine essentially, right, and double Imperm and a Droll. And against most other decks, this Droll would be pretty high impact, right? But in the case of the Centurion, this Droll is just kind of a dead card, which is all right. But these 2 Imperms are going to go in deep, because this is going to, like, the game plans now, just keep them at bay, and that's exactly what non-engine is supposed to do, especially in the situations where that's all you open. It's supposed to keep them at bay and don't allow them to draw, don't allow them to play, don't allow them to search. Whatever you can fire off, Imperm fires off right away. And again, like with Imperms, you're shutting down columns, right, which is really nice. But he goes in special summon Inseti. He goes and Synchros into the big level 12, not the Legatia, I believe. That's not the one. I can't remember the name of this one, but this is a really good one. But we're going to smack it with Imperm because it's going to shut down the end phase effect. And that's what's important, is the add is strong, but that end phase to be able to reset is actually pretty strong as well. So we're just going to kind of like hope this is enough. He has 1 card left in hand. He's already used the Imseti. Arguably, he could use the last card in hand to pitch, which he really should do, I think. Especially now, seeing that was a Druid Storm, he should have pitched to go ahead and get Happy, and then brought out Happy, and then swinged in. And that actually could have been enough for a game, but maybe he just lost sight of it. Maybe he was hoping to hold the Imseti, or the Magnamut, which I don't think was correct. But we draw for turn, and it's okay. It doesn't matter what we draw, because, well, it does matter. So, like, it looks we have Gearfried, Droll, and a blank. We go Museum's effect to go ahead and search the Durandal. Durandal can equip to his card, and then, again, Durandal can then search us the uppercutter since we're not siding. We still have access to that. But this is going to be a good way to show you why sometimes losing the dice roll, we're not too susceptible, because like this deck struggles going second, especially if you're playing the uppercutter and stuff, because Spar loses your battle phase. But this is where playing the XYZ stuff allows you to like break boards a little bit easier. We go normal some uppercutter effect to go ahead and search the Spar. And it's like the same, well, not going to be the same, but it's pretty close to the same dance that we always do. We special out here. And this is why I believe the uppercutter engine is like really strong, and people who are not playing it just like, I don't understand. This right here, literally, our Isolde is Angelica now, and this card is a 1-card Angelica, which is what the deck really needs. Anyway, we search the Renault, detach the Spar, special. We go ahead and smack on top of the Dempsey, XYZ Armor Fortress, which this is also why I really enjoy this engine, because it feels like you get full utility out of Dempsey. But we go ahead and search the equipped and search the trap that's going to let us, turn into XYZ on their turn, which we're not going to do here, actually, because we're trying to break the board. We don't get a battle phase now, so we got to solve as many cards as we can, which you'll get to see. We go and smack on the Dark Knight, pretty much here, Lancer. And as soon as a card becomes equipped, Lancer's going to gobble a card, which is really nice. So we're going to go ahead and I think we go and equip the Chainmail to the Angelica, Chain Angelica, send the thing. I do apologize, guys, for the glare on my side. I was one table off. The next table down has like the perfect spot to record, and I would literally goof. But the cards are still seeable, which is nice, I guess. At least you're able to see the Centurion cards, right? So we're going to go ahead and use Ogier's effect to move itself forward. We're Warrior Lock now to send Malgus, because we hard open Gear Freed. So Malgus is going to get us a draw, which could draw us into like another hand trap, draw us into like tactics, anything really. It's just a free, since we don't have Gear Free, we got to send something, and the next best thing to send is the Malgus. We go ahead and fire off the second field spell, which I think that's what we drew, which is kind of wild. No, we searched it off Angelica. So we go ahead and equip the Charles, and then we go ahead and use the effect of the Dark Knight Lancer to gobble up the Synchro. We go ahead into Charles. We go Chainlink 1, Charles, Chainlink 2. We go Chainlink 1, the Almas, add back Gear Free, Chainlink 2, Charles to equip himself. And we should be firing off Charles here to destroy something, but I don't understand why we don't. Maybe everything's protected, I think. I think the field spell protects something. You control everything, which is okay. We're going to be able to do this regardless. Yeah, I think everything's protected. I think things are protected. So we go ahead and use Charles's effect to go ahead and destroy the Gold Sark. And then we're going to go ahead and go Heritage of Charles. That's what we drew off of the Malgus, if I remember correctly. And then we're going to go ahead and search out I think we go for Oliver, just so that we can get an extra body. Because right now our goal is to make SP, because we need to solve another card. So we go ahead and summon out Oliver, pitching the Ogier that we added back. We go ahead and move forward Charles. We go ahead and link into SP. SP effect on summon to go ahead and banish the field spell, I think is what we go for, because we don't care. Go ahead and get rid of that. And Gear Freed effect, banishing the mail, the Chainmail to go and summon itself. And our inboard is literally, we go Malgus effect to equip. Our inboard is going to be SP, Charles, Gear Freed, and the Dark Knight. So we got a non-targeting pop, a non-targeting attach, a quick effect SP, and then a Gear Free negate, and a spell and trap negate, which is insane. And that's how we ended up doing it, man. That's why non-engine is so important, and I think like decks that can afford to play non-engine should, and those decks that don't really have a lot of spots should still be playing like certain non-engine, maybe high-impact non-engine. Board breakers are still a solid choice too, don't get me wrong. You just almost have to have like some sort of powerful and high-impact cards. Like even in the scenario, like Droplets would have been an okay card. So he draws for turn. This is like, there ain't no way that like I have more interactions and disruptions than he does cards. So he goes and chimps to fire off Magnamut, and I'm just going to negate it with the Gear Free to go ahead and get another draw, because I want to draw into like a hand trap and recycle my stuff right there. So then literally he has I have a quick effect banish, a pop, a gobble, and a spell and trap negate. So he attempts to use Tridia, and we just chain the Little Knight here, targeting it and itself to banish and move into the card. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Charles from Team COG. You guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy.